Curiosity. Mystery. Discovery. In Stellaris Console Edition, you set out to explore the stars.
The wait is over. It's finally coming here on February 26th. A niche game for niche players. The Stellaris Console Edition is finally going to come out. Yeah, that's right. The Stellaris Console Edition coming out on the 26th of February 2019. Now, I did mention that this is a niche game for niche players. My God, is this a niche game? At least at first, at first glance. Stellaris by itself can already be kind of considered to be a niche game, but then at the console version on top of that, that right there is a niche within a niche. And I'm really curious to see how this is going to go, especially considering the model for, well, at least Paradox's release model for their expansions, etc. So let's take a look at what is actually in Stellaris, the console edition. Well, apparently it will come out in two flavs, the vanilla version as well as the deluxe version. The vanilla version by itself is the 1.7 version of the game with a couple of tweaks here and there. Obviously, the UI is going to be completely different, as you can see right now from the gameplay that I shot over at Gamescom earlier in 2018. But still, you know, overall, it seems to be a very 1.7 experience. I think that's probably the best way of describing it. By itself, it has quite a lot of stuff in it that is relatively different. Obviously, the UI is optimized for console, which means that using a gamepad comes out on PlayStation as well as Xbox, so that by itself is interesting as well. No news on whether or not it's coming on a platform like Switch, like City Skylines did, but this is done by the same team that did City Skylines, so that right there is rather curious as well. Now, obviously, considering Stellaris by itself is relatively taxing on your CPU, I would not be surprised that the suggestion is going to be one of the higher end version of the consoles. Yes, for those people that are playing on PC and have no idea about consoles, the PlayStation as well as Xbox do come with different versions with higher clock speeds. So most likely, and as is relatively straightforward, the faster versions will most likely perform a little bit better. Whether or not the in-game speeds are going to be locked to a certain date is a whole different question, but when you're seeing 25 million fleet power on your screen, yes, that is definitely possible in the 1.7 version of the game. If you feel free to roll it back to get that experience, then yeah, then at least it should be running a little bit smoother. Now, the team has been sending out various streams the last few days to take a look at it, and I highly recommend that you go to twitch.tv/Paradox Interactive to check those out. But with all that out of the way, let's take a look what's actually in the standard edition. Let's take a look at the product page here. This is all in German. Let's translate this to English. There we go. So, be amazed by the monstrous scale of the universe, yada yada. That's all pretty straightforward. Commit to strategic space warfare. That's definitely a thing back in 1.7. Find new species. So it looks like the entire marketing angle here is wonder and exploration. And that by itself is fine. I do remember downloading the game for the first time back when it was around release. Back then I got it on Steam. The whole discovering the universe bit was basically, for me, the main draw to the game, and obviously the mid-game was a little bit barren back then, which since then has been resolved. But of course, 1.7 is still kind of having those problems, if I can think about it. But the real thing is, I don't know if the game has had any polish under the hood. 1.7 came out back in 2016, I think. Was it only 2016? Let's have a look here, shall we? Stellaris 1.7. Let's take a look when that came out. The Bradbury patch came out on the 5th month of 2017. So, okay, so it's just over 18 months old, that build, and that's apparently when they started doing the port. So that kind of makes sense then, I guess. Still, though, overall, Fairly straightforward. Apparently you'll need a 6 GB minimum download for it, which is quite excessive. One player only, so it looks like it's only going to be a single player experience without any multiplayer. I don't know if this is confirmed or not on the Paradox side, but I'm just reading from the product page right here. And on top of that, you can get it in either glorious 720p or 1080p. Joyous. Let's take a look at what we get on the Deluxe Edition. Now, the Deluxe Edition, it costs like $20 more, I think. The base edition is, I believe it is, yeah, it's $39 and or local equivalent, and I'm talking in euros right here. And the Deluxe Edition is $60. Now, in the Deluxe Edition on PC, you got like a bunch of art books as well as a whole bunch of other stuff, like I want to say there's like 4 different versions of it, like the Galactic version, the Nova version. You got stuff like the art book with it, the novel, which I've read. I don't think it's very good. The soundtrack, that sort of stuff, as well as a couple of exclusive for launch. But let's take a look here. What comes with the special version, the Deluxe Edition? Stellaris Console Edition includes Plantoids, the very first thing they ever brought out, Leviathan Story Pack, and the Utopia expansion. So it does look like we're going to be seeing expansions being sold piecemeal on the PlayStation Store for $20 in total. And in all honesty, that's not a very large amount for this swap. Of course, there's always a lot of sales going on for Stellaris on PC, so the deal on PC in general is most likely going to be better. But then again, there has been quite a lot of demand, even on the channel, when it comes to buying these. And apparently you can also buy a season pass. Fascinating. So apparently there's going to be a season pass available. Save money on the content of this game by purchasing the season pass. Content can be downloaded in or really? Is there a season pass? Really? Download this product. There's nothing about a season pass in the base version of the game. This is curious. I haven't seen this before. Okay, so apparently on the Deluxe page, there is a reference to a Seasons Pass, but I don't see anything about a Season Pass anywhere else. So that right there is rather curious. So I'm really interested in to see where this is going to go. Anyway, Stellaris Console Edition is coming out on the 26th of February 2019, both on the PlayStation Network as well as on the Xbox One, Xbox Live. Really, like I said, really interested in how this is going to go. If it goes well, then they'll continue to use the same model, at least on the console, to continuously develop. And of course, it's not being developed by the core Paradox development team, which means that it's not going to impact any of the production of the mainline title, because there's a separate producer on it, etc. But we shall see. Anyway, if this is tickling your fancy, feel free to give a comment below, and of course, feel free to give it a like as well. Interactions! It pleases the algorithm. Regardless, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take good care of yourselves, and as always, each other.